I've been a priest in this Archdiocese for 51 years.
I've been a priest in San Francisco, the Archdiocese, for 53 years.
I was ordained in the Philippines in 1965 at the age of 25 years old. After 11 years working in Tagbilaran, Bohol, Philippines, I migrated to the United States, and I was welcomed warmly by the diocese, and so I decided I think I'll stay in San Francisco.
I had the great fortune of being pastored by Father Tony McGuire when he was the pastor at St. Matt's Catholic Church in San Mateo. When I think of a pastor, I think of a shepherd. St. Matt's is a very large and very ethnically and culturally diverse parish. Father Tony loved that about the parish, but he also worked hard on mixing that diversity and trying to create one unified parish.
One of the things that has been a key element in the 53 years has been this opportunity as an individual priest to celebrate the Eucharist with people, and through that help them come together as a community, and particularly to be involved in so many of the critical issues of social action that are important for all of us today.
In the early 1980s, the Archdiocese was beginning to close parishes because of lack of personnel, and Father Tony McGuire was assigned to Most Holy Redeemer, and he and a nun called Sister Cleta Harold kept that parish open. They went around the community and talked to the community people in restaurants and in bars, and saying, look, there's this parish right around the corner called Most Holy Redeemer, a Catholic parish. We want you to come back to church. If it hadn't been for him, Most Holy Redeemer wouldn't exist today. Well, I'm in an unusual situation. I was only assigned 4 parishes in my 50 years, and each one was very unique and very special. And I think the key to the whole thing is the wonderful people, clergy, religious, that were in those parishes, and how they made me not only feel welcome, but they really took responsibility for forming me during my priesthood.
We value the unique contributions of our retired priests for taking all of us to where we are now. When I moved to San Francisco 20 years ago, Monsignor Acamo was one of the few Filipino pastors in the Archdiocese. He has been a great inspiration for his dedicated service in shepherding the faithful entrusted to him. He, along the many retired priests, have become our mentors.
I think of Father Vince Ring or Father Michael Strange, Father McGuire. Those are some names that kind of pop out in my head right now, of just men that were very gracious, very welcoming, made you feel comfortable being part of the Archdiocese.
I got to know Monsignor Harriman well when he became pastor here in the early 90s, but I became involved in more committees, and I was a Eucharistic minister and a lector. And he liked to catch you, to ask you to do things, and if you were thinking about saying no and you saw that on your face, he would just say, let your conscience be your guide. You can't say no to Jesus.
I think that in the life of a priest, you have to make a very important decision in regard to how you're serving the people. And I would put it this way. My spiritual director told me that I have to decide whether I am doing God's work or serving the Lord. And I said, well, they're both the same. And said, no, if you're doing God's work, then what you're doing, you're deciding what that is. But if you're really allowing the Lord to work through you, then you are, Lord, what is your will for me today? What it means is, am I open to the working of the Lord in wherever I am?
Priests don't really retire. I mean, the only part they retire from is a kind of an active life, generally as a pastor, but most priests will continue celebrating the Mass and other sacraments until they're simply not able to anymore.
My father's a retired pilot. My mother's a retired teacher, which means my dad doesn't fly planes anymore, and my mom doesn't go into the classroom anymore. But these retired priests are not retired from a job like being a teacher or being a pilot. because they're still a priest. They're always a priest. They still celebrate Mass. They hear confessions. They help us out. They're still a father, and they always will be.
These retired priests of the Archdiocese have given us so much support over the years. Today is our opportunity to show them our caring support, our interest in them, our warmth and appreciation for what they've given us in return.
Thank you for everything that you do for the Archdiocese and for your parish. On behalf of the retired priests, we ask for your prayerful consideration in supporting the retirement fund. I know in our lives it makes such a difference to have you there supporting us.
Thank you very much for your support of the local church over the years, both by your giving generously and by your prayers. I'd like you to remember in a special way the Priest Retirement Fund. This fund has made a huge difference in my life and the life of so many priests who have served you over the years. And with that, I'd like to remind you that we will pray for you and hope you will pray for us, that God will bless you in every way.